welcome to the Laugh and Monkey Music Show, Trev on Ron Keel. How are you?
I'm fantastic, Sean. Thank you for the invitation and the opportunity.
I'm glad we could do this. I've been, as I said earlier, I've been a fan of you for a long time and enjoying your music. And you have a new album out, obviously Keel World. That's what we're here to talk about. I mean,
Yeah, I'm home. I'm home in
so,
Keel World, where I belong.
well, I think you've always been there, and it's an interesting album. The album's already out now. I think it was on the second it came out, if I'm correct, right?
Yeah, we've been out for a few days now, and the
Yeah,
response has been incredible. I appreciate that and the opportunity to talk about it with folks like you. It is a dream come true. After working on this thing for literally over 3 years from the time we started writing till the day it came out last week, it has been quite a journey. So now that it's out and the opportunity to share it with people, get that response and talk about it with people like you is the next part of the game. And I'm having fun still. I'm enjoying the reactions that we're getting from journalists like yourself,
yeah.
from the fans, from the media, because you never know when you create something, you're so close to it. It's tough to be objective. You can't see the forest for the trees. And now that I'm getting those reactions, it's very rewarding.
Well, it's fun because it is something like something borrowed, something old, something blue, or whatever that saying goes.
Yeah.
It's a little of everything you are. But I think if you look at all your music, there is obviously there's a common thread of you through all your music and a certain sound you have. You know, you have a unique voice where you can do almost different voices, almost in a way, like in different styles of music, which is very interesting. And I think it really plays to your performance on this album because it's almost like having almost like a different singer at times. It goes with the song and the story, I think. I mean, that's the way I
Thank you.
hear it.
Yeah, it
I
is
don't
a
know what your
totally different
vision is.
animal. It's a different game. It's like playing multiple sports, or being an artist, whether you do painting or sculpture. Those are two totally different art forms. The music on Keel World is very much like that. I think most albums that we've done, and I can't even tell you how many albums I've released as an artist or a band member the last 40 years, or how many albums I've been a part of, whether it's guest appearances or movie soundtracks or whatever. So it's a large body of work. And usually each album or project is a chapter of your life or career. Keel World is the whole story. It's the whole story, top to bottom. And we fit every landscape. We visit every landscape that I've explored the last 50 years on this album, from country to metal, from the acoustic ballad "Last Bottle on Earth" to Steeler, "Give Me Guitars or Give Me Death." I mean,
That's right.
it does tell the whole story about who I am. It is vocally very challenging to do that. I find that the country stuff, or the more sensitive music, I guess you can call it sensitive, is much more challenging. I have no problem getting in front of this mic and screaming my guts out, and screaming some metal and pushing hard and being aggressive
Mm-hmm.
and powerful. That to me is one of my trademarks. But to explore that vocal range that I do on songs like Faster Horses or Neon Circus, Guitar in the Grave, Hollywood, some of these songs that demand a little more sensitivity. And I'm not talking about being quiet or being shy or backing off. I'm talking about the subtle nuances that you can execute during a master vocal. Every little thing makes a big difference. Everything that you
Oh yeah.
do, whereas when you're screaming metal, man, you just want to be loud, strong, powerful, and hopefully stay in tune.
There is, and I think part of the good thing of being a songwriter like you are, and I think that's the big thing about you is by doing so many genres for so long. I think of you more of a songwriter. I mean, you're a good singer, obviously, you know, but the point is you're also a songwriter at heart. So to me, I've always enjoyed the journey. I mean, going far back, like Keel to me, like one of my favorite songs. I said the right, wrong thing to the right girl. You know, to me, quintessential good songwriting. It's a fun song. If you take all the rock and metal out of it, it's a good song. It's about the fundamentals of a song that I've always appreciated of you. I mean, hey, you have a good voice. You know what I'm saying? Though, to me, that's how I enjoy using artists. So going to this album now, and the culmination of all the skills and paintbrushes and tools you put together, and how you have them all together, it fits really good. It could have been a nightmare, you know.
Yeah,
As an artist, it could have been really kind of like icky, like in a way, like the songs didn't match, but it's very linear
I
and they all
appreciate
tie
that.
together.
I
And
appreciate that. I am getting that feedback from other people, fans, media, journalists like yourself. And that was important for me. The album must have one cohesive sonic identity. It can't sound like a collection or a mishmash of different sounds or styles.
Right.
Even though the genres and the musical styles are extremely diverse, the album's got to it's got to fit. It's got to be linear. It's got to take you on a journey that, like a movie soundtrack. You could have Dio and Madonna on the same movie soundtrack, and that's kind of this is cinematic in that regard.
Well, I think that, but I think it feels to me like this the song order, is very important.
Yeah.
I think it's a billion times more important. It can make or break an album sometimes, And I think the production and the songwriting and the song order also help tie together cohesiveness. Because otherwise, you get that like the jerky thing back and forth. Even if it was the same type of music, this album's kind of fun because it does take you on a ride and it builds up and it ties you to the next piece. I almost feel like you doing all these songs probably collectively around the same time of different touching different spots of your life. Do you feel like it kind of almost you start creating another new version of your own genre now? Like you know what I'm saying? Like because you probably do a lot of it around the same time. Like it's kind of becoming one.
Well, it has been over 3 years in the making. A lot of songs, searching for the right songs, and you get those foundation songs. Ron Keel Band had an album's worth of material already that we were writing. We still have a half dozen songs left on the table, so it could very well have been a Ron Keel Band album. But I'm having dinner with a friend, and he sat across from me at the table, and he shook my hand and said, "Hey, what's going on in Keel World?" And boom, that light bulb went off over my head. What a great name for an album. Let's
Yeah.
just take you on a journey across all these landscapes that have been a part of my music and a part of my life for the last 50 years. And if we did that, like Keelfest, which is a concert that we did a couple of times in Columbus, Ohio in 2019 and last year in Nashville, we had a show called Keelfest where I had Steeler, Ron Keel Band, and Keel all on the bill together. And I'm fronting the whole show, a 3-hour show with no intermissions, no breaks. We go right from Ron Keel Band into Steeler into Keel. And I thought, why don't we put that on a record? Of course, it's all built on the songs. You've got to have the right songs in order to undertake a project of this magnitude. So Mark Ferrari had sent me a piece of music, which the guy's brilliant, one of the best rock songwriters I've ever known. And he sent me this piece of music. And immediately it hit me. I'm hearing the melodies. I thought Moving Target. I wanted to call it Moving Target. I literally got on this mic, which is not a state-of-the-art recording microphone, $300-400 mic. And I got on this mic and I did the demo. I just literally first take for this song, Moving Target, which represents Keel, my band Keel on Keel World. And I knew at that point, we've got a Keel song. And what if we had a Steeler song? But you've got to have the right tune. So I dug through this mountain of notebooks and phrases and titles and lyrics. And I saw the title somewhere on a page, Give Me Guitars or Give Me Death. And I thought, man, that sounds just cheesy enough to be a Steeler song. And I had this riff, the riff that the song is built upon. So I wrote the lyrics, built the music for the verses underneath the lyrics. I write backwards, like a lot of singers will put words to music. I put music to words. The lyrics, melody, vocals, that's got to be, that's something I learned from country music. It's got to be built up around the voice, not around the riff. The riffs are super mega important, but you've got to come up with the right riff to complement these lyrics and melodies. And I wrote that song, Give Me Guitars or Give Me Death. I realized we've got a Steeler song, we got a Keel song, we got half a dozen Ron Keel Band songs. Now we've got something. Let's add Iron Horse to the mix and the Black Sabbath cover, which is a great story, by the way, how that song ended up on the record with a couple of other ex-Black Sabbath members. And add a couple of solo tracks that are just Ron Keel solo songs. And the rest is history. Here we are in Keel World. And I'm glad it worked. When I was working on it, I couldn't tell. You get so caught up in the work and the tracks, one verse at a time, one track, it's a process. And at one point you become committed to the song and I'm going to finish it. But I don't know. I know I love it. I don't know what people are going to think about it. I don't know what the reaction is going to be. You have really no idea. You can't see the forest for the trees. And now to have it done, you go through this honeymoon phase. Once the record gets finished, And it's all mixed and mastered. And you put the CD in your truck or you crank it up here in the home studio and you realize, man, I really like this. I think this is really cool. And now you get in my truck, you turn it on, you're going to hear Keel World. And
Right.
I'm finding myself listening to it every day. I mean, I think that's not narcissistic or egotistical. It's the fact that I'm really proud of my work and I love what I do. And I enjoy the record. I hope that people that listen to it will get the same feeling and that same interpretation that you just mentioned, that it is one cohesive sonic journey.
It's an amalgamation of like, I actually think you're gonna look back. The biggest regret you're gonna have from this, I'm thinking, is you're gonna go, I should have done this sooner. Because I really think it's gonna be like, it's gonna pull a lot of your stuff together. The cohesiveness of it. See what I mean?
Well,
I think your
everything
audience,
happens. Yeah, everything
you know
happens
what I'm
at the
saying?
right time in the right place. You know, my biggest regret is that there's no cowbell on the record. There's no cowbell at all.
I know.
And normally we'll do the percussion overdubs. You'll have cowbell in the rockers, and you'll have some tambourine, you know, in the choruses of some of the more commercial tracks and shakers. I forgot to do all that stuff, man. Now I'm listening to it. Man, that tambourine would have been really cool on 2 and 4 in the chorus.
Me too.
So now I'm going to release an album just of the percussion tracks, the isolated percussion, the isolated cowbell track from "Give Me Guitars or Give Me Death." We're gonna charge half price for that though. It's because
I
it's
think
just cowbell.
you should just do your live. You should do it live. You should do it larger. It's a larger live. You do larger than Keel World, and you do it all live,
Ooh,
and then you'll just do it, and you can push the percussion out there a bit more and kind of have some more fun. And if
I
you do
like
that, you got to
that.
throw in. I said the wrong thing to the right girl for me because that's like my favorite song. For the entire summer, just listen to that song over and over again
And that
on a
song's
side
been
note.
that song is the reason the Final Frontier is not on Spotify. That song, and that's not even on Final Frontier, but Universal, who owns the rights to
Mhm.
those MCA albums, we've been in litigation with them for years, and they're willing to re-release the Final Frontier on Spotify under the condition that I don't re-record any of those songs. Man, you're not going to tell me what to record. It's my song. If I want to record a
Right.
new version of it, I'm going to do it. So that's holding up the deal, and it probably will continue to hold up the deal. They can kiss my ass. I mean, I'm
Well,
going to.
just re-record it. Just re-record it. Then
You
your
can't
voice is still
re-record
there.
Sport. I can re-record it now, but if I sign this paper that Universal's putting in
Right.
front of
It's
me,
like
I
don't.
can't.
No,
No,
just
I'm not.
re-record it
I'm
now.
not.
Don't
And
do
so
that.
I'm sorry that Final Frontier isn't on Spotify, but I got other fish to fry.
Uh, it's out there. I got my hands on it. I already have a copy. So I mean, I'm saying as
Yeah.
far as a fan goes, that to me, because I would just go for recording afterwards in college and later on. I was a big fan of songwriting. So even back then in the '80s, I'm like, this is how a good song goes. This is the, you have other songs like that. That's just an easier example for me. Of at that point, is what's really funny with you, as you have "Children of the Grave" is on this one. You always have a lot of cover songs, but they're always different. You know, this one's So Sabbath. You've done, they start off the big one with Because the Night, but I mean, you know, Rose Tattoo to me is one of the best bands on the planet.
Oh yeah.
I've had Angry on a bunch of times on the show. So to me, you doing Rock Roll Outlaw was one of the cooler things you've done for cover songs on one
I
of your earlier
appreciate
albums
that.
with
I
Keel.
agree. I think I
And
think
a great version too. It's a great
I
version.
think Children is, well, 17, 18, 19. I think it's cover song number 21 that's been commercially released. To me, there is no difference between a cover song and an original. I get in this debate with people all the time. As a songwriter, once I write it and record a song, it's done. And now when I go on stage, it's my job to cover that song. I'm covering Because the Night, or I'm covering,
Right.
the Right to Rock. It becomes a cover song because you're trying to do that song justice and deliver it live. Um, and all songs are originals because somebody wrote them. They're all originals. Somebody wrote them. I didn't write every song on Keel World either, by the way. But
Right.
it just, to me, there is no differentiation, and that uh, stigma of covers. It started with "Let's Spend the Night Together" because that was the
Yes.
only cover that Steeler ever did. Steeler was an original band, top to bottom to the core, but we did "Let's Spend the Night Together." We never played it live, I don't think, but we recorded it, and I ended up keeping that idea for the first two Keel albums. "Let's Spend the Night Together" was on "Lay Down the Law" and the "Right to Rock" albums.
How come?
So,
That was a question I actually had for you. How come it was on both?
well, when we got signed, it happened for us in 1984 very quickly. I put the band together in March. We did our first show in April. By July, we were signed to Shrapnel Records and in the studio recording Late on the Law, our debut album. During the recording process of that album, and the album's not even done yet, we got signed to A&M Records. And all of a sudden, it's a major label record deal, and Gene Simmons is producing the album. And this is days. Literally, I flew home from the sessions to meet with Gene and, seal the deal. We were still in the studio recording our first album, and Gene says, I'm going to produce this record. He loved that song, The Right to Rock, which was the only new song I had at the time. I walked into Gene's hotel room with a little cassette tape of just the music, and I sang it to him, in his hotel. And he said, I'm going to produce this, and we're going to start Tuesday. I said, Tuesday? I mean, we don't even have any songs, right? We don't have any songs. How are we going to start recording an album next week? So I went home from that meeting with Gene, totally jazzed, and wrote Electric Love and Back to the City that night. The other two songs that ended up on the Right to Rock album, Right to Rock and those two. And we said, well, we can take 3 songs from Late on the Law and re-record them and take 3 Gene Simmons songs. So Gene gave us 3 of his songs that did not make the cut on Animalize for Kiss. And so there's 3 Kiss tunes that didn't make the cut for Kiss, 3 new songs that I'd written, Right to Rock, Back to the City, Electric Love, and 3 re-records from Late on the Law, because we got to start Tuesday. We're on a very tight schedule because Gene's got to go on tour with Kiss, and he doesn't have time to mess around. We're gonna make this record. We got to make it now before I leave on an 8-month tour. And of course, we're excited. We're working with Gene. That means the album gets a January of 1985 release, and we can hit the sooner we get the record out, the sooner we can hit the road. So we went into the studio guns blazing that day.
That makes sense. Actually, it's a good move to put some of Gene's songs in there too back then, because Gene's going to want to promote it because nobody's a better promoter in the world than Gene Simmons. So
that's right. And the Kiss fans bought it the day it came out, man. It really put us on the map. I didn't realize I had a choice. The record company presented me with a list of potential producers, and everybody. It was a who's who: Tom Werman, Max Norman, Michael Wagner. I mean, it was the A list of producers, and Gene's name was on the list. And I just said, well, yeah, I want Gene. And they hooked up the meeting. And like I said, I went to his hotel room and we bonded. And he's been an amazing friend and mentor and a big part of my life and career. I wouldn't be here without Gene Simmons.
No, I'm saying I think it's a smart move because it's already somebody's established. He knows the sound. He's in the environment. He knows how to write songs. Boom, boom, boom. I mean, to not go that route would have been, I don't know, kind of foolish, really.
Yeah, he's a musician, a songwriter, a singer, a rock star. He was everything I wanted to be, and one of my heroes. So it turned out to be a really great business move that was made for all the right reasons. It was all about the music at the time, and I wanted to work with somebody who maybe, hopefully, would understand me and relate to me, and he did.
Well, obviously, it worked out. It's funny because with cover songs, I agree with you. I think anybody can do cover songs. The only time a cover song is bad to me is if an artist is chopping off songs. And this is back in the days with albums and cassettes being too short. If they had more original music that was probably stronger original to a mediocre cover song that the band would do. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
As opposed to like that.
But they're all originals, though. They're all originals. Right. Somebody wrote them. Yeah, but I mean, and those songs put so many bands on the map, whether it was Come On, Feel the Noise or Once Bitten, Twice Shy or Because the Night. A lot of us, it became kind of a tradition with those 80s bands. You got to have your cover song. You had to have
Van Halen did it. Van Halen did it.
Exactly. Van Halen was the primary influence on all of us in the 80s. And for them to do You Really Got Me, I mean, that's really was the template which we all followed for the next decade.
I'm saying, I think if you say you had for an album, you had enough room for 13 songs, the cover song better be really, really good and not a mediocre cover song. When you could put on a 13th Keel song that would have rocked even harder.
Yeah, we're faced with that now. We're faced with that with the vinyl edition. We're doing 2 vinyl variants of Keel World, and one is a single slab of vinyl that's going to Target and Walmart and all that. But you can't fit all the album's 53 minutes long. You can't fit all that on a 44-minute piece of vinyl. So you got to cut something. So Children of the Grave we're going to save that for the double gatefold. We have 2 versions. One's a double album with all of the Keel World content and 2 bonus tracks as well on the double vinyl. But our distributor believes that we should also release a single slab for retail.
Oh
That
yeah.
and I got to listen to the experts. So we're going to do a single version. I have to cut one more song off that, the Children of the Grave, and what else? What else am I going to cut? Which other song? No, don't tell me. I don't want to know. I'll figure it out. But
All right.
that's a tough decision, man. That's a tough one because each song has a very special place on Keel World, and cutting out one of the original songs, one of my songs, is going to be it's going to be tough.
I wouldn't. I like. Uh, Personally, I definitely leave the last your solo stuff in the beginning, the end, the Ron Keel stuff in the Keel.
Oh
So
yeah, oh yeah.
maybe one of your country mix songs, not for any reason, just for
Yeah, and see, I don't even know what those are. I don't even know what those
yeah,
are. I mean, I got a review the other day, a nice review, and the guy says Ron Keel Band delivers the countrified Americana on this radio. There's no country or
countrified
Americana in.
Americana.
That's what they called it, and there's no country in the Ron Keel Band. That's on the country tracks. Ronnie Lee Keel.
Right.
There's 2 Ronnie Lee Keel songs on this record, which I'm very proud of. But there's nothing country about Ron Keel Band. It's
No.
very much uh, American hard rock and roll, and that's what we're all about.
I think there's one song that seems a little bit different, and I enjoy it. But I'm saying if you have to change the album around, maybe something a little different. I don't know. It's a hard deal because you go back and forth about it because it's not a bad song on the album. So it's good
Thank
luck with
you.
that one.
Yeah, that's a
Good
tough
luck with that
decision,
one.
man. Tough
You know.
decision, and we're gonna have to. We're releasing this on cassette as well, so that's going to be also a factor when we decide. But you can get everything on the double album and on the director's cuts version of the CD, which is available only to Patreon members. I don't sell these. This is a gift that comes free to all of my members at patreon.com/Ron Keel. And I'm giving this away to everybody who supported me. This is my VIP fan club. This is my Kiss Army. It's a family of hundreds and hundreds of people online that really, I can't thank them enough. And they've paid their dues. They've supported me for decades. They're paying a monthly subscription. It's only $6.99 per month. So you can sign up now, get your free CD for $6.99, and then bail if you want. You can cancel anytime. Most people don't because they dig it. There's a lot of great content there, unreleased albums, demos, voice lessons, guitar, songwriting workshops, free album downloads, my radio show, a lot of personal interaction, all that at patreon.com/Ron Keel.
Well, I'm gonna have the link also. People underneath it don't have to write down or crash
Thank
their
you.
cars and driving on the podcast or on YouTube. It's right. The links are for all the
Fantastic.
artists are always
Thanks.
underneath. Well, it's easier for the artist. That's what the show's about is you, the artist. Um, let's take a minute and actually talk about that because you do have your hands in a lot. It's always been kind of Keel World, other stuff too, because it's not just this album, you know, the podcast or the radio show or other acts off the label, like in the Patreon. You have this Gene Simmons umbrella, like it rubbed off on you,
It
you
did.
know, to put a lot of irons, spinning plates and stuff. Let's just touch on that and like what you got. And if someone's coming in saying, I like this album, or you know what, I like the Keel, like a lot of people would be in the 80s, 90s, whatever. Oh, his other stuff. Oh, I like Keel World. Entry level drug back into the world of Keel.
Exactly. I like that.
All right. So it's your gateway, gatefold drug in. So where from there do they go? Like they go to the website. What else do you have that they can kind of
Well, it
that
all
you do?
stems from the music. Without the music, there would be no radio show or radio station, record company, book, or any of the other stuff that we do. I'm doing 2 movies right now. One is a thriller, I mean, as an actor, that's an acting role called Beginning of the End, and I'm starring in this really disturbing horror thriller movie, and also a documentary film coming out next year, Steeler Legacy, which is the story of Steeler, my first band that really got any notoriety. We've got a comic book coming out, the Keel World comic book, and it's a full-on, big, nice, glossy, professional package. The record company, RFK Media, or that's the umbrella under which all my business resides.
Right.
rfkmedia.com, and we've got some other great releases from Cold Sweat, Crashing Wayward. We've signed a band called The Fifth out of Raleigh, North Carolina. We've got a number of Ron Keel Band and Ron Keel releases acquired that are reissuing through our catalog, branching into radio with krfkradio.com. We're up to about 50,000 listeners worldwide at this point with KRFK streaming audio, and some big names on the station: Eddie Trunk, Joe Elliott from Def Leppard, Dee Snider, Charlie Kendall's Metal Shop, my show, Streets of Rock and Roll, and just a 24/7 streaming hard rock and metal with great programming, great music, and the best syndicated shows. So there's a little bit of everything. I'm an entertainer. That basically, anyway, if I have to juggle or spin plates or I can do the puppet show, whatever you want me to do. If I can entertain you, man, tell a joke, that's what it's all about. That's what I was born to do.
Man, your energy level is just off the charts. I just need to talk to you for like 10 minutes every morning. It's like a virtual cup of coffee every day, which is getting me going.
Oh,
Feed
thank
off
you,
your
man. I
energy.
appreciate that. Well, it's a choice. You have to stay positive. I'm lucky to be healthy. I'm lucky to be in love with my life and love what I do, and very fortunate in so many ways. So I think that's got to pour out of you when you talk about it.
Well, and I think you are in peak condition vocally too, and songwriting. I mean, it's important because it's a big discussion nowadays because
Yeah.
artists, especially artists that came out in the '70s and '80s, not like a legacy, not like a lap, but this is a glorious time for rock to be able to do the cruises, the flyouts, or this that. Like rock got kind of hit kind of hard for a while for whatever reason, and now everyone can kind of get out there because everyone's got the expendable money. They're older now. Their kids are getting into it. Like my kids are older and they're into it, going to shows. It's a new audience. It's a chance to kind of re-celebrate everything again. It's a good time. But some artists, I mean, after you've been singing for 40 years, your voice is trashed. Sometimes it's genetic, sometimes it's just not taking care of it. Your voice
It's
is
a
very strong
combination of
still.
factors. It is a combination of factors. It is a lot of it is genetics. I'm very blessed with good health.
Yep.
And a lot of it is seriously just good old fashioned hard work.
All right.
I sing 2 to 4 hours a day. I'm still working my instrument. I know that I'm not talented enough to take 8 months off. I would never be able to get back on that
Yeah.
horse and ride it again. I've got to sing every day, even for a solo acoustic gig. I'll rehearse for 2 weeks. If it's a one-off gig that I haven't played in a couple of weeks, man, I'm in here. I've got a stage in my basement at home, and I am running through the entire show at full tilt, working up a sweat, screaming my guts out, doing what I do, because to me that I love it and I enjoy it. It is a grind, but it also enables me to get on stage and be proud of my work. I don't have to be embarrassed. And Father Time is undefeated. It will take its toll on me as well, but not yet.
Excellent. Thank you. I want to thank you for being on the show, and hopefully we'll have you back again. We'll do this
Thank you. I
again.
appreciate your time. Great questions, great
Thank you.
insight, and
Thank you, man.
keep up the good work.